So my guest today loves the spice of life. Matt is a proud metalhead and even prouder Jew. He has been a follower of my channel for quite some time, and I've had the pleasure of exchanging some stories and thoughts back and forth. And this podcast gives me the opportunity to share some of his points of view, some of his journey, and Bezrat Hashem, God willing, inspire some of you guys watching and listening.
Ink on the skin, the stories untold. Wisdom so ancient yet so bold. Questions and answers, a dance of the soul. Tattoo Rabbi, tattoo Rabbi, tattoo Rabbi. Come and see the layers of life, the mystery. Tattoo Rabbi, tattoo Rabbi.
Hi, Matt. How's it going?
It's good. How are you?
Baruch Hashem.
Hey,
Welcome to the Tattoo Rabbi podcast.
am I screaming or is that just regular Jewish voices okay?
Perfect. I wanted to start by asking you to give like a very brief 5-minute max bio, who you are, where did you grow up, what was it like, memorable moments as a child or a young adult, and go to the point where maybe you first found Chabad or kind of like close to where you are now.
Okay. So I'm born and raised in Phoenix, Arizona. And I grew up, like, let's say in I mean, it's irrelevant. Let's just say in the suburbs. Okay. I would say my parents are awesome. Well, a little strange, but amazing that I'm one of 3 kids. And at the end of the day, we have an almost 1-year-old daughter, myself and my wife. So if the ultimate goal is that your kid is a kind, decent member of society that stands up for what's right, they did check, check, check. It's another thing if your kids are big machers, and I mean, two out of 3. I've got a hot sauce shop at 38. So I remember, just in terms of, let's talk about specifically Jewish things. I remember very vaguely, I don't, going like on Yom Kippur and Rosh Hashanah to, I don't, Beth Joshua. I don't even know if it exists anymore. I'm 38. Just for the services. And then I went to a local charter school, and my parents, for whatever reason, are like, we're going to sacrifice his entire interaction with social human beings for a very long time, and sent me to Phoenix Hebrew Academy when I was 6, which is, they've been around since the 60s. That's in the central area of Phoenix, and that is, now there are other, I guess, enclaves of places where you can walk to shul, but that was the only, that and Solomon Schechter were the only Jewish schools at the time. We always looked at the Solomon Schechter kids as much cooler than us. What I did like, Phoenix Hebrew Academy was fine. What I did like is they were religious. I don't know how it is these days. They were religious, but they had a lot of people that weren't, and they never, like, you had to bring kosher food and stuff, but there was never any, oh, if you're not this level, it was just very standard. So I appreciate them for that. I went, let's see, Chabad, I had heard of them a little bit. I primarily went to shul at Young Israel, which was very close to that area. Occasionally, I would go to Beth Joseph, which is the adjacent synagogue to the school. Very comfortable chairs, especially when the guys were giving Saturday speeches. It was great. Um, very. Let's just say they weren't the most invigorating speeches, and their kiddishes were not great. But whatever. That's an aside. Um, and then I went to just as I don't know how it is these days. I remember growing up, and it was, let's say, specifically Israel and Jewish identity were part of it, but just more on a historical level. I remember I remember vividly them wheeling in the VCR or whatever when Rabin was killed. So that was one of my vivid memories, and it was a lot of like songs. Not really. The term Zionist gets overused. It's just different, it's just some blanket thing, but just very like historical things like that. And then I went to, it was either Chabad High School or the Jess Schwartz Community High School. I went to the second one, did not like it. That was I get their idea. It was pluralistic in terms of they tried to apply each of those things. If people were conservative or they weren't as religious, they taught to each of them. And that's never been my issue. But I was used to being with Young Israel in those places. I really, it was frustrating because I just wanted to learn what I liked or what I was used to. So you can't, there were only like 15 kids in my class. So it's tough, and that school no longer exists. Yamach Shemo, I hated high school anyway. Um, Chabad, I remember I primarily went to, I was president of NCSY for a year. I went, the Phoenix Community Kollel started in, I think I was in seventh grade, so there was four original rabbis. Chabad, it's weird because it, and I don't know why, and it's certainly different now. It's like it's not that they were mocked, but it just wasn't taken seriously. It's weird. It's weird, and maybe that, and certainly I have a slightly different view now. I remember Rabbi Label Blotner. There was only one Chabad here. I remember going to his mishmar, and then I disliked high school so much to where I just went to yeshivat or sameach in Israel instead of my senior year. I would say it was weird because I just wanted to get out of high school. And it was more of a kiruv. I don't know if let's say to make people more religious or whatever, but that's not really what I needed. It was, I'm like, okay, like they're like, if you go to all three services every day, you get a steak dinner. I obviously didn't do that. But I had a fairly pleasant time. I'm in Israel, no issues. And then the goal was to use those credits for Yeshiva University, where I went. And the main things I picked up from there were smoking cigarettes and weed. So many years I had a vape business. And I remember I think it was midway through Israel. I remember thinking, like, just straight up, there was nothing negative, but like, I just don't believe in this stuff anymore. And I remember like a rabbi in New York, like Rabbi Weiss, super cool. I think he lives in Paramus or Passaic or one of them, like trying to like, and then of course when you're 18, 19, I came back to college here at Arizona State. Not, let's say, didn't graduate, and that was right at the time where the God Delusion and those books had come out. So of course I'm reading those, thinking I am the smartest person. Anybody who believes in anything religious and is an absolute fool. It was great. Um, at the time, when you're 18, you think you know everything. And then I I remember my mom and this is a little bit early on. So my family was never like, they sent me to a religious school, but my
Mhm.
mom became, I don't like the term Baal Tshuva. I don't like that term. All I know is Rabbi Klein, she became much more
Connected.
religious, but my father has never been religious, but always supported. One thing I credit my parents for was not forcing me to go one way or another. Whatever I wanted to do, whether it was religious stuff or whatever, they would be like, "That's your thing. We'll support you." And then I joined two different worlds: the motorcycle club world and primarily historically black motorcycle clubs and the heavy metal scene. And for a long time, it wasn't that I was anti religion or anything. I just didn't do anything. And for years, Rabbi Blotner and the Bronsteins, who have it, hey, come to Shabbos, come to this. I'm like, nah, like, and then it's strange because when my
And just to clarify, this is when you're like in your early 20s.
early 20s, and it's strange because my wife is not Jewish. She is from Senegal, West Africa. But there was like this switch when I don't know why, when I was with people that were not Jewish, it's like there was this thing of I really need to be way more connected to Judaism. I started going to Rabbi Blotner and Mesa, the Bronsteins a little bit. I've known Rabbi Blotner since I was 14, and and now
Do
it's
you do you remember if there was like a defining moment where like you realized like what was that moment of realization of like I need to have more Jews, like I need to have some sort of community to be connected to?
not, it wasn't a community. I'm so glad that I have the Blotners in my life, but I think a lot of if we're taking Jewish law aside, if we're separating that, the one of the main risks that people say, oh, if you marry somebody that's not Jewish, the risk of that, all the heritage and the culture and religion that wasn't as disappearing is very likely. So I think there was something where I'm like, if I'm going to be doing this, I better scale up big time to where I can't let it die. I can't let it die. I'm the only one that, my family, of course, all Jewish, but it's weird because I am the most involved in Chabad. I don't know why. And I've really, truly, I guess, since 2017, it clicked for me with Chabad, with Rabbi Blotner, and I'm obviously did. I have a really nice story with just Chabad. Rabbi Blotner and his family. Were I to ask them, Rabbi, should I have married somebody that's Jewish? Of course, that's what they believe in. Is my child halakhically Jewish? No, that's what we believe. Whatever. The maturity and respect of them not to alienate somebody for what they do. They have this special gift, Chabad itself, and it's weird because for an organization that wasn't taken seriously, at least in the '90s, where it was like, the stupid Rabbi joke, yeah, I'm sure that's all gone. And I'm like, yeah, that's why there's hundreds and hundreds of thousands of, so those are the people that I'm so grateful to maintain a connection with, because I don't need um a religious family to be who I am. I don't need that at all. But it's nice to have going to synagogue and doing those things. There it was like I've never changed in terms of in fact I've never changed in who I am. I'm still Jewish. I know a lot of the stuff and whatever, and it's important to me. I'm always constantly learning, but it was like the Phoenix Community Cola and those people. It's like as soon as I was not religious, it was like I was, even though I'm still in Phoenix, it's like I was dead to them. And there's some issues with that, whereas nothing changed with Chabad at all. And I'm very legitimately upset because it's like you're it's like they and I because I would tell them I would love nothing more to give Musser to those people, and I would, and I kind of have that the dogma and the community or their things were more important than Jewish community. They started off as a curative organization once they made their money done, and I don't like. It was like I was dead to them, even though I'm,
Right.
and it was Rabbi Blot, whatever. So I really appreciate the most recent thing with Chabad is I spent summers in Lakewood, and for those without context, it is a very Jewish place. I went to the Siyam Hashas. I have a great friend who I grew up with from Lakewood, so he hits me up the day before Simchas Torah. He goes, "Did you do Lulav and Esrog?" I said, "No." Um, I legitimately had reasons. I couldn't go. I had my daughter. He says, that was the day the hostages were released. And he said that. I said, well, they didn't do it the past 2 years, and I did. So it was like, he's like, figure it out. So I'm like, geez, like I can't. My wife wasn't coming home until 6. So I'm like, this is not. And I had hit up Rabbi Blotner early in the week, and he didn't see it. So that was because normally they'll come by and have me do the Lulav and Esrog, and I don't. Maybe there's people that are watching that are not religious. It's the thing on Sukkot. You have the
The stick in the fruit and you shake it around.
yes, it's plain. I have my friend. It's where are you going? I'm going to a Jew event because it's much easier to say that than to explain Simchas Torah. So I even hit somebody that was affiliated with the community kollel.
Just tell them you're going to the holiest frat party of the year.
I don't. I went to Yeshiva University. My college.
There's no frat parties,
Oh,
right?
yep. Although it actually Chabad knows how to do it right. But I hit up even somebody I swore I'd never spoken to because my friend twisted that guilt. It's instead of why weren't you here on Rosh Hashanah? Rabbi Blotner goes, "Oh, we missed you on Rosh." I'm like, you. So I hit up Rabbi Blotner, and he's like, "Sure, come." And my wife wasn't coming home until 6. And for those without context, there's certain times where if it ends, you're not able to do it. I hit up a guy that went to Phoenix Hebrew Academy with my sister, decades ago, and I saw him once recently, but that's it. Not like, he's rabbi of Paradise Valley, but I hit him up. I said, hey, like, I'm at home. I'm not able to do this. Within 1 minute, he had his nephew on the way to my house to it was a Juber. I tried buying that domain, but he did that like again. I don't know how to explain it. I'm not religious, and he did that for me. Like for me, I thought that was so cool. And then the next day, I went to Simchas Torah. I showed up at 7 in the middle of shul. Rabbi Blotner had, and I would say people are like, oh, what's your favorite Jewish holiday, whatever. It's Simchas Torah if you go to Chabad because it's the true celebration. Rabbi Blotner had already lost his voice by 7. I did hakafos and they're like, what's they call it a nigun but it's a like one of the Jewish tunes or songs. So like Matt, choose one. So I wanted to choose Mordechai ben David, Mashiach, Mashiach, Mashiach. They'd already done it. So my brother just got married. My brother, very proud Jew, but
Mazel tov.
not religious. But I'm like, why don't he didn't do Od Yeshama? which is a traditional Jewish wedding song. I want to do it, and they did it. Like I,
Wow.
amazing, and it was just and there one of the sons was like, "You're behind us on drinking, let's," and literally I just hung out talking about just Jewish stuff, learned a little bit of the Tanya, which is the, I guess, the Chabad specific writings of the previous Rebbe, correct?
The first Rebbe, the first Chabad Rebbe. It's like Chabad philosophy is Tanya.
So it was just nice until it was like 2 a.m. and Gitti basically kicked me out. She's like, they have to, and it was just a wonderful one of the Naphtali, one of the sons, is like, Matt, you're the best Jew. I'm like, I'm not. I'm just a dude. And then I said, Mika, there's the phrase, Mika Amcha Israel, who is like you, Israel. But I switched it, Mika Amcha Chabad. Like, like they don't, people show up that are religious, people show up that aren't, and whatever they wear, if they have tattoos, there's no like side eye or judging. Like the fact that it's just amazing. That's why I'm like, there's levels of people. There's a friendship and people I love. There's, would I take a punch for you? Would I take a knife for you? Would I take a bullet? Chabad's Mesa, at least, is bullet level. I don't really know why they're like this. Maybe it's just the way Chabad is, but they're they allow me. I even went to Yom Kippur, right? Because I missed Rosh Hashanah. I felt a little guilty, and there wasn't a spiritual awakening, but it was not. It was nice. It just, because I think in America, and this is my thought, like in America, it is, regardless, there's anti-Semitic, but in America, it is by far the easiest to be Jewish, but it's
Mm.
also the hardest because, like, I didn't have to do anything, but I'm driving 25 minutes to for ancient prayers, and it's very easy to get just lost. And so I've dialed up the identity because I'm, for the most part, I'm the only Jewish person that people know, which I enjoy. I love, if you're an American Jew, you got to know your place, not in a bad way, but also I'm kind of like, if I mess up, like they're gonna be like the Jews, and I'm like, I gotta be good on that, and that's it. I don't know. I still am not. The Blotners is like, you got a Hasidic soul, and I'm like, no, maybe. I love. I try. I tell maybe 50 people a month about with Jewish or not, and if even regardless of your level of religious, even if you're not at all, go to Chabad. You will maintain something. Like they had a Passover Seder. They do like a big 100 people. And I remember there was a guy not wearing a yarmulke, right? In some place, oh, why is, maybe that was that guy's first Seder in 50 years. I brought, after I brought my dad to a Seder, my mom, and without going into too much detail, let's say there was some Phoenix Community Kollel behavior there too. It took me 15 years to get her to go to a Jewish event. Okay, 15 years. Come to Chabad. No, I don't. And literally, and maybe it's weird to say, what worked was same uniform, different religion in terms of just that soul. Anyway, that's, whether it's, I know it's Judaism and all that, but it's such a unique perspective, and that's it. Like I'm a Chabadnik in a weird way. That's it. That's my spiel. I don't know if that made sense. The sugya was, I like Chabad.
It's well worth it. I'll listen to that all day. That's really beautiful. So, you mentioned that your mom was a Baal Tshuva, without using the word Baal Tshuva at some point. And then you said also that it took you 15 years. You're doing shlichus now. You're trying to do kiruv on your family,
No,
and
it's
I know
not.
you're not trying to, but you said you're trying to bring your mom for 15 years to some Jewish event just because you wanted to.
She believes, and we go kosher household, and my dad always supported. My dad is still not religious. He's a very proud Jew, but he's just not into the religious aspect where people have their own beliefs. But she still believes, and without going into too much detail, she just decided that she'll and other. I'm sure that the Phoenix community call, and I'm happy. I don't really care because I'm a pretty honest person, and if I had, I already. She just didn't want to. It just didn't work for her to go to a religious shul and stuff like that. She still believes. It took me 15 years of saying the Blotners, the Blotners, the Blotners. They invited you to the point where Rabbi Blotner was like, "Is your parents coming?" I'm like, they're not, Rabbi. But I worked, and it's not just my mom, it's everybody because I don't know. I don't know and it was so awesome. And she came to Pesach and Purim, and I don't I don't like and bald tshuva is the common term. She just gained. She was very religious. That's how we ended up in Lakewood for many summers. But that it was literally years of me saying Chabad is different. It's different. It's different because you're still doing the Seder. You're still doing all the same stuff, but there's nothing but joy and kindness. And what I like about Chabad is it operates under if you want to discover even the slightest more about your Jewish identity, they're there. If you're like me, you want to. They know I'm not really religious, or I don't know. I'm in a weird world. Well, I don't know why I'm doing Lulav and Esrog or going to Yom Kippur or Simchas Torah, but I do anyway. They're there for it. If you want to become religious in a orthodox way or do really, I mean, Chabad, I say that really I had to pull out the same uniform, different religion. It's not. It's a different approach to the way they look at Judaism. They're there for all of those people. If I'm like, there are people that have converted that they're not treated any. Look, it's tough. I mean, of course, there's, just because somebody's Jewish doesn't mean they're a great person, but they're not. They operate as they're there to help you with every step. Meaning, if I said to Rabbi Blotner, "Hey, I want to, I guess, resume keeping kosher and all that," they're there for me in those aspects, and they're there for everybody. And that's why I tell every single person that is any sort of Jewish, you got to come to Chabad because they're not going to make you feel any less for whatever, even the slightest shred. And that's why I like them, and that's why they're successful. I think because they're there for every step. They are not going to say, "Oh, you can't come because you're not really." No, they're like they operate if it's there. If you would like to become, or if I wanted to be a Baal Tshuva after being a Baal Tshuva again, if I wanted to do a secondary Baal Tshuva move, they're there. So that's Chabad just operates differently, and I think the initial, because it's a very much a Eastern European, it started more people that were not as cosmopolitan. um I think that a lot of the I think the fact that it's Rebbe focused versus more Posek, where it was, Moshe Feinstein, things like that, and you can explain that very more not dynasty, but I think at this point, I think those people are jealous of the joy that the Chabadniks have. I do. I'll stand by that. I think they're jealous of of the way that they operate and the joy, because I guarantee all of the rabbis' sons are they're shliachs, they're doing their rabbinical stuff in different places, but I know that were they like, I don't want to do this at all, yeah, sure, there would be some disappointment in not following, but they would still love them. That's it. So I think, and that's why Chabad is in a lot of places
Oh
and
man.
growing. So that's,
Yeah.
but it's really just it is an opportunity for everybody at any level to hit that level and be meaningful. That's why I got tons of love for. That's why I'm extremely loyal, because it's the last connection I have on a, like, seriously, it's the last connection I have to a religious organization. Not the last connection I have to be Jewish or believe what I want. It's the, and that's who they are. So, yeah.
It sounds like you've fallen victim to the Chabad. This is the Rebbe's. You have. I'm gonna explain. And I think you'll agree with me. The Rebbe's goal, the Rebbe's vision, is very similar to Moshe Rabbeinu in that he's trying to make a nation of kings, a nation of leaders.
Right.
So all the Rebbe's goal is to make every Jew into a leader. That's why you hear oftentimes learn Aleph, teach Aleph. Even if you only know a little bit, you should go teach it to someone else. And the goal is to inspire not just like the shluchim, but the people who come to the shluchim, they themselves should turn into leaders. They should be the ones that are leading, because why? You're going to be talking to a Jew. Only you could get your mother to come to a Seder, because only you have the perspective. Only you can tell your mom, same army, different uniform, right? Or same uniform, different division.
It's the only thing I could use. I tried so hard.
And I guarantee you, even the Rebbe himself, if he went to your mother, wouldn't be able to convince her to come. Only you. That's exactly it. You're a shliach of the Rebbe directly, very, very clearly. You've fallen victim to the Chabad mission of turning every Jew into a leader. You yourself now are a role model and a leader for the Jewish community.
Dude, I'm a representative, so I'm not a role model. I mean, maybe a little. And really, not to interrupt, the Rabbi and his wife they didn't have any kids, but look, not to, my wife and I went through 4 rounds of IVF. We didn't think it was likely, but if you want to view children as non-blood, oh, I guess he's got a lot of kids now. Maybe a few 100,000. Me. Why am I doing that? I'm in Phoenix. I'm in the least Jewish place ever. I have a hot sauce shop. I'm in the Wild West. And it's because of Chabad that I'm doing these rituals and studying and telling people, every single Jewish person I meet, I got my mom to come to a Seder after like 15, 10 plus years. And because I knew as soon as she showed up that it'd be exactly the way I feel. It'd be exactly, I'm like, I just have to get him there, and then they do the rest. Then Chabad does the rest. And but leader, I don't know if I feel like I have to be in a world where I'm basically, and I really don't mind, I'm the only Jewish person that a lot of people know. So I got to know my stuff, and I have to conduct myself in a certain way and be very, very open with the fact that I'm Jewish or whatever. But
I agree. Okay, I have a question. Do you think that every Jew is connected?
by blood,
I mean, by blood for sure. Most of us are. Most of us are seventh cousins, at least Ashkenazis. Um,
Um,
but I mean, in general, like there's this idea that there's a collective soul of all the Jews that we're like one unit.
no,
The few
no.
that are one whole.
People believe in way different things. So I would say they're connected in just, and I hate to say it, at the end of the day, you could say whatever you want. You wear a yarmulke or you don't, but at the end of the day, you're still ended up in the same line at Auschwitz, and it's a sad thing to say, but it's true. So in terms of when it's a negative thing, then it reminds you that you're all the same. But I don't like there. Maybe, but not. It's an inter. I don't have a clear answer. I don't have a. Uh, I don't. I feel like it's more like for people who are Jewish, whether they're religious or not, and they are bad people. And my thing is like, if you're gonna do those crimes, don't wear the yarmulke. I have no connection with those people because they're not to me. They're whether it's Jewish or not. Those people are meaningless to me. They're ruining uh, who I am. I have no connection to those people at all. In fact, I feel even less of a connection to them. Um, but do I have? So you're asking like, do I have a connection to, let's say, somebody who wasn't born Jewish that is now religious? Yes, on a now they know the beliefs and the spirituality, but not on a blood level. It's weird. It's a strange. I don't have a clear.
Let me try to reframe the question. How do you think your life connects with the broader Jewish people or even humanity?
I mean, I'm only speaking from an American perspective. I have how to. Can you say the question again? How do I?
How do you think your life connects with the broader Jewish people?
It always makes me happy when I see somebody that's Jewish at like the store or whatever, because it's Phoenix. I did that in New York. I'm like, oh my God, you're Jew, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is not
Every other person you could throw a stone, you're likely gonna get.
connected
But here's my question. Why do you get so excited? You see one Jew, you have no connection, no personal connection with this guy. Why do you get excited when you see a Jew in the grocery store?
because I can talk to them in a certain way that other people that I can explain to. But I could say sei gesund to some random at the store. There are little I connect with them on a no. That's no. You're right. Um, but I have. It's weird because I feel like I have more in common with an American Jewish person than a Yemenite Jew or somebody that was born in Israel. And that's just because I'm an American. I mean, I'm a fourth generation American. I just, it's different. So I think it's more like just a way, it's the same. Okay, let me rephrase. It's the same. If I see somebody wearing an Iron Maiden shirt, it's kind of the same thing. It's like, oh, this is somebody that I can say certain things to that that person will know inherently.
Right. You're connected on some sort of level
I
to
would
this person.
not religious, at least in my end, but on a strong cultural, traditional, and unfortunately, like I said earlier, like you can be whoever you want, but in a bad, but when it's not good, you get reduced to dirty Jew, and it
Yeah.
sucks. It sucks. It does.
Yeah.
That's the ultimate like base outlier. Or the base you get reduced to that. Like I said, there's at the end of the day, if they're not gonna people. I mean, I've kind of made myself a little invincible to where if somebody says something negative, which is very rare, I have enough friends for, let's say, a side quest. But I think, again, I don't have anything. I have much more in common with, let's say, my buddy Adam, right? Who really didn't grow up religious at all, but he's got Israeli flag tattoo. I have much more in common with him than I do with somebody that was born in Israel that went to yeshiva, because I'm an American Jew or Jewish American, whichever one is that. But that's that. I think it's much more on a cultural on. It's really who am I more likely to break bread with. So I think on a connection, yeah, on a persecution level, unfortunately, but on a lifestyle level, let's again go back to the Kollel. All right, they clearly figured out that I didn't have anything in common with them, and that's not true. Of course, I'm not going to hang out with somebody that's as much that's not religious, right? I get it. You have a divergence. What do I have in common with them? They clearly thought that because of my life choices that didn't impact them at a negative level, that I'm even more connected. So you explain to me, what do I have in common with them? Nothing.
I think what you said probably holds true. Is at the end of the day, when if an anti-Semite comes knocking, you guys are gonna both end up in the same line next to each other, right?
Yeah, but who's going to have my back? It's going to be my friends that I feel like it's much more likely for my dear friends that are not Jewish to have my back versus them.
Oh, interesting.
Not a joke.
Right.
Not
I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying.
and
100%.
it sucks to say, but what do I have? I have. You would look on the surface. I'm an Ashkenazi. I'm a white Jewish person. I grew up in Phoenix. I went to Jewish school my whole life. I went to their houses for Shabbos every freaking week. And it's like it's like I'm dead to them. I didn't do anything to them. And meanwhile, I have dear, dear friends that are not Jewish that I know would have my back in a second. So you tell me. I think we're I connect with people on values and who they are. You tell me who I connect more with. It's serious. I have nothing. They've decided that I am not part of them.
Right.
So that's the problem. And I don't really care. Look, it's more likely, yeah, in like a nightmare world, yeah, we're all, but in real world, they're much more likely, it's much more likely for my dear friends, mostly who happen to not be Jewish, not by any specific reason, they're going to have my back. Not the people I grew up with. So that's the problem. And that's a unique experience to me, but I don't think it's the only experience. So
I don't think it's so unique also. I think it's very
how am I connected?
This goes all the way back. This problem that you're talking about goes all the way back to the Baal Shem Tov, the founder of Hasidus. This was exactly why Hasidus was started.
That's where, and you know what? What's the exception to the rule? In my experience, and I have a very deep experience, it's Chabad. Because they're not like, it's not that they don't care. I truly believe that they would be even happier or more meaningful if I was very religious, because that's the way they feel to gain the most reward in heaven, right? That's what I think that for you also. You would go, great, Matt's religious again, so it's much more likely that he's going to be rewarded in the afterlife. I don't think that's an unfair thing, but there's people, I have dear friends of mine that are Christian. My wife is Catholic. Is it not the same thing?
Right. So I want to bring out also, this is also where Hasidus differs very greatly from, we call them misnagdim, but basically people who are religious We call them like Orthodox, regular Orthodox, or modern Orthodox, along those lines. And it's very common that this is the mindset that you're talking about right now. And you grew up with it, so you know it very well. Is that if I do this, then in the afterlife I'm going to get a big reward.
I never.
And
Yes, but yes, you're.
that's the motif that they tend to run with.
Yes,
So in Hasidus, it we don't care so much about the afterlife.
agree.
What's more important is what you're doing here in this life. The reason we want you to do Torah mitzvahs is not because so you get a couple more acres in Olam Haba. We don't care about that. You'll be dead. What good is that going to be? We want you to do Torah mitzvahs because that's in this world specifically how we're going to connect with Hashem, and you're going to get rewards in this world. That's what we want.
I am getting those in here in my outside world, and I am, but that it that's Chabad for you. It's not as focused on dogma as it is they know they do. I like it because like they do an abridged version of things because they know some people only have a certain attention span, and then they do they put also the shofar when the shofar. So I'm like, okay, I can show up. They know how to. They know how to adjust because I think part of the skill is knowing how to balance the razor edge of living in the world and being connected with regular people for all the good and bad without losing who you are. And if you just live in this isolated world, then what do I have in common with you? Nothing.
If you're an all or nothing, if you're a black and white world, it's very hard.
Are we,
Chabad wears black and white, but we live in gray.
are we talking about the clothing stores in Lakewood?
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
it is different, and it's not. I feel that Hasidut, Chabad, Lubavitch, whatever you want to call it, has more in common, not on an observance level, more in common with a and it's weird to say with like a non-religious synagogue or whatever where they're not going to judge you, not like I feel like they have more in common. Yeah, different observances. A little you get what I'm saying though, right? They're not going to give you a side eye. They're going to be like, "Hey, we're happy you're here." They play guitars. That's not okay. That's why it's got to be the very solemn little, kavana but yeah, I've experienced a lot of it. I've experienced the good and the bad, and I am glad that the behavior of people I grew up with didn't ruin everything. That made me like very anti. Seriously, I would call I'm one of those people where I like, how can you do Kirov, get your money, and then stop? But no, and that's the Baal Shem Tov, and because that's living in reality. That's whatever you can do, you can do. And I really respect that, and it's not, and I mean, look, not, of course, not to, there's bad people in every organization, and I feel like the younger generation, like yourself, I feel like your obligation is to be just like society in general. Society in general is more in tune with mental health and addiction and things like that. That's your response. These are things that just an older generation isn't as comfortable talking about. But I feel like that's more a responsibility for the younger generation of shluchim to be more connected with that, because that can only help.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. Of course. Tanya is, by the way, Chabad. You know what Chabad stands for, right? So for people watching that don't know,
I
um,
know. I probably they didn't. They probably should have explained that on day one.
no, it's okay. So Chabad stands for Chachma Bina Dat. It literally means like thought, wisdom, and understanding. Knowledge, wisdom, and understanding.
Which
That's
evolves.
what
Which evolves to.
based on what you know, it changes. Every day is going to be different, but the approach is a very mental approach. Like you said, mental health and things like that. The Tanya talks a lot about depression, about anxiety, about all these things and different tools that you can use to address them and work on those things. So
And
it's
no, I was reading a little bit, and I was a little buzzed, but I was very like you're saying, it's a little more grounded in the human psychological aspect. I Because there's already the Gemara, there's already things like that. There is already that stuff. So it's certainly no, I agree, and maybe I need to read a little more. But I like
yeah,
with Chabad because they have a different understanding. Because that way I can ask questions that they can answer versus reading it myself. I have no. I need to read it with somebody who internalizes it and practices it, and then I'll be able to pick out little things for myself that I can internalize.
yeah,
But
that's how you're supposed to do it. It's
what?
the best way to do it.
Let me ask you this: how many, like, do you deal with a lot of people that I guess like myself? Because I've never been like, there are people, unfortunately, they get forced into be whatever it is, they get forced into, and it's not just, I mean, any religion, anything, and they do think they hate it, and they do think like, I don't keep kosher, but it's because I did, that's not right. But there's people who eat non-kosher to as like an anger thing, like hang on one sec. What's going on, guys? How are you? What's going on? Give me. This is the tattoo wrap. Oh, Steven, you were wearing sunglasses. Hey, this is my former neighbor Steven and his lovely wife.
Hi,
She's from Nigeria. We almost had an African contingent across.
Yoruba.
I'm doing. He's from. I'm talking to him. He's in Israel right now. You look around. Just be silent. Just be silent.
I love it. I love it.
I got so much good stuff. Give me. Okay, so that's true. Haknasas Orchim, welcoming of the guests.
You look like Avram Avinu hopping up so excited when you see the Malachim come.
Everybody is, yeah. This is a good one because the person who rents the place from him is honestly much cooler than he was because he likes. But how many people do you deal with that are like grew up religious but are like not, but are like me? I can't be.
Like you, nobody. You're very unique, but
How? I mean, I do like to think I'm in the main character in my own world. Narcissist, but how is that?
you're not alone in I've many times I've had people. There's a guy here in Chedera who grew up in Jersey. I forget where specifically in Jersey, a religious place, and he was in like from like yeshivish style, black hat, short beard, like tie, like very.
I can't grow a beard, and I never, hat. Like, there's great like photos of me in Israel. I'm just everybody is dressed, white shirt, and I'm just wearing like a sun's jacket because I just didn't care.
That's great. I love it. That's how you're supposed to do it. But he in particular, we've talked about it many times, and he he swears that he'll never send his sons to like a yeshiva similar to the one that he grew up in because it was so traumatizing for him. Said he remembers before his bar mitzvah that the day of his bar mitzvah, he spent 40 minutes in the bathroom crying before he had to go do kriya, before he was going to go lane from the Torah, because the pressure and all these things, it was just so heavy on him that it gave him it was such a terrible experience that he
Ah,
went. Yeah, and when he left yeshiva, when he finished college, I don't know if he went to yeshiva university or not. I can't remember, but
well, if you
he dipped out. He did his own thing. Now he's more religious. He's short beard. He's not wearing tzitzis all the time. He's keeping Shabbos. He's keeping kosher. He does the Yom Tovim, all these things. You would say, quote unquote, he's a frum guy, not to the same extent he was growing up, because he just was destroyed by the people around him, because exactly the culture that you're talking about is that there's no love. It's all like there's no love.
that bothers me, but more as like a personal thing. That didn't change. That didn't change me. That didn't. Hey, could we do the? I mean, you don't. You ask whatever, and I'm just gonna go through my. Unfortunately, the level of kosher hot sauces. There's not that many. There's, even though the ingredients are kosher, it's because because people are going to be like, if I went to these people and be like, you should make your stuff kosher, cool. All you need to do is spend some money so that this rabbi can come, and they'll be like, what are you talking about?
Yeah,
Don't
drop $40,000 so Rabbi can come and say that it's kosher.
brand for I'm not giving away my genius. I'll message it to you, my genius kosher idea, but I'm not 40 grand. What am I, a big muffer?
Yeah, it depends on the organization you go with, but yeah, it can like that's kind of on the low end actually.
Well, I'll just go with why do they even do Triangle K? Why?
I agree.
Why
If you're gonna spend the money, you know.
these chips? These chips are Triangle. Why? Who's doing that? They're like, maybe they're good salesmen. They're like, yeah, people.
People want that. That's kosher for people. Yeah, no, it's so funny because the people who are like keeping kosher, they don't touch triangle K. It's very funny.
Oh, even one of my rabbis won't touch KSA. I'm like, cool. Chabad, but I got Vada Kashrus of Bogota, Colombia. I really do like, yeah, but the next generation will enjoy some seasoning and hot sauce in their food.
Oh man.
But so what? I mean, all I could say, I don't know who's watching this. Hopefully, millions of people. But
Oh man.
trillions. Are you going to be as popular as what's it called? The weather outside is Rizzy. Is it you, boy?
Oh,
How does I don't understand him. I love him, but his life is so confusing to me.
I don't understand him at all.
He's I don't understand either. Makes no.
I think he's just trolling everybody. I think he's just the
Yeah,
online personality is not him at all.
how is that helping? That's not good Kirov. It's just good monetization of your religion. I don't know.
I think that's what he's done. Yeah.
Gonna do it. What I like about, like, and I know I'm always trying, and I guarantee, like, if I hopefully I make some money, it's going my family, and then I guess a couple friends that like literally, and then Chabad. I don't care, because you got to make money, because
Yeah.
they do the best. Like, there was some, blah blah blah. I did a post about the Lulav and Esrog, and somebody said, how much are tickets? And I think Gitty responded, there's no charge to pray at Chabad. I'm like, what a mic drop. But it's true. But they always do, like, hey, it's XYZ amount for these meals, but if you can't, you can't. So I'm always trying to, like, uh
Give where you can.
everybody. I
Right.
I know I know how it goes. I know how it goes. And but how, let me ask you, so you're in Israel, right? First of all,
Hmm.
okay, I'm always telling one of the rabbi sons, I'm like, you should have gone to Arkansas because you would have had a much better story than New York. It would be like, so do you deal with a lot of the people that were like forced?
To be religious like growing up, there's a few. Um, there's a few. I would say the majority of people that find me are usually people who have no connection to religious Judaism whatsoever. They grew up totally secular. I would say that's the majority, but I do get quite also, I would say maybe it's like 60% of people are totally not religious and are coming into the fold or
Right.
curious, things like that. And maybe 15%, 20% are people who like were forced to grow up religious or grew up in a very like religious place, and their parents tell you have to do this, you have to do this, and the rabbis in the synagogue said you're going to hell if you don't do this, and your life is meaningless if you
I
don't
remember,
do.
I remember that, and I'm like, I remember them saying that at yeshiva. I'm like, and even at like 17, I'm like, what are you guys even talking about? I'm like, how is that helping?
Right.
No, people go, they're, oh, Jews don't believe in heaven or hell. I'm like, yes, they do.
And yeah.
Yes, they
Yeah,
do. But then I'll also bring up I'll talk to one of my old school rabbi. I'll be like, I'm for sure doing these things for Kares, but I also, each letter of the Torah is worth millions of things. So I'm like, it's got to balance out. I think, is it statistically? I don't know which is the right one. Statistically, I don't know who I'm going to, but if it's the Jewish one, right? If it's the Jewish God, I'm going to be like, I assume it, they, God will be like, the hell? Why'd you do all this? And I'll be like, look, it was 2025. I did my best. And we'll be like, because that not the essence, the ichor is you got to defend. And then I'll be like, I went to Yom Kippur and it was pretty boring. But I did this for all of the sins except for the ones I didn't do. I didn't do any wrong business ones at all. I'm like, I'm not apologizing for some, but there were a lot. There were a lot of other ones. But Yom Kippur, on it, I wasn't sure what to expect because it's been, that was probably a 20-year thing. And I'm like, am I going to have some spiritual awakening? No, but it was nice to reflect. I'm like, I've done a lot of, you got to be a bit of a better person. Keep going. Grab a soda. Rocky Mountain Soda Company. They used to have a Hefsher a scroll one, and
uh,
this is a
Scroll K.
no. Like, well, here's the thing. Here's how we're the Jewish culture. I hit up Rabbi Klein, who is very, very, very stark, very religious. He lives in Baltimore. I've known him since he's the one that's responsible for our family getting connected with. So I talked to him a little more now, once a year. His birthday's and each year my life gets more confusing to him. It went from like, how's it going? Oh yeah, I'm doing this, and then it's like, yeah, my wife's African, we have a kid, I have a hot sauce shop. But I hit him. I'm like, is this a good symbol? He's like, yeah, my friend does that one. But on the most recent one, they didn't. So I'm pretty sure they were tired of spending all that money for people who didn't care. Wait, is the prickly bear still? Nope, nope. They stopped caring.
Let's stop.
Uh, this is great. So Rabbi Klein, like one of the most decent, kindest people, like he hits me up. He's like, "Do you have the numbers and names of 4 people?" One of them I'm super good friends with, Jack Trow, who lives in Israel, super cool. Another one I'm like kind of friends with. One he's dropping like old school names from fourth grade, which is a long time ago. Like I'm not in fourth grade. We're talking 25 years ago or something, right? Maybe. Oh no, 30. Oh no. He's hit me, and then I'm like, maybe he's asking for donate or something like that, right? I don't care. And he hits me, calls me. He's like, yeah, it's kind of a weird reason why I was asking. He's like, I was kind of harsh on them growing as a rabbi. I wanted to apologize. I'm like, yo, what? Yeah. And he was take some water, take some water. Did you try all? No, why don't you use some arm strain? There we go. His wife. So where is your wife from?
My wife is from Cameroon.
Oh, there we go. I see.
Yeah.
So we can do this contingent.
Yeah, we can't like literally, actually, except for Mandalore, we are dealing with three. But so, I gotta ask you. So your wife, I can't, African, whatever. That's where we all come from. One of the tribes. So your wife converted, right?
Mm-hmm.
How the heck did that? Cameroon is, obviously Ethiopia. If you guys don't know, Ethiopia a lot, and even how does that even happen?
So she's from a Sami Bantu tribe.
Okay.
And the Sami Bantus are like Sami Bantus. They're like essentially like a lost tribe of Israel kind of thing. They were from Egypt originally, and when the Jews left Egypt, they stayed. A lot of Jews stayed behind. It even says in the Torah, a lot of Jews stayed behind in Egypt. And at one point, there was Muslims that took over, and they tried to get everyone to convert to Islam, and they didn't want to convert, so they fled. And one of the places they fled to was Cameroon. There's a lot of good farmland in Cameroon, and they were farmers, so they went there and started building up. And it's like the crazy thing is they still kept kosher, Taharas Mishpacha, like family purity laws. They did the bris, they did circumcisions, they did a bunch of other things that were like Jewish, but they didn't have the Rabbanim, they didn't have a Torah necessarily. So it's like Ethiopia, they never had the Rabbanim, they never had
But
they
still,
but they have the Torah. So it's like
I have, by the way,
these disparities.
so somebody got us and we had, look, it went from a vape shop, the greatest vape shop in the world. And I have a lot of the holiest Jews, active AZ legends that get pushed to the left, depending on how much I hate them. Retired or mostly active Jews, and then some dead ones. Somebody got
Wow.
it. Can you see this?
Yeah, Africa.
Somebody bought us this map as a gift. People are like, "Oh, are these places you travel?" I'm like, "No, I wouldn't be here if I was that rich." So somebody came in, I'm like, "Oh, let me put a sticker on the map if somebody was born in XYZ country." So I'm just a little corner shop. So I have a decent amount. I got a couple.
Oh wow,
Look at this. This is the whole world in the little shop of hot sauce.
that's crazy. I
But
love
that
it.
so it's interesting. We go back to connection, right? What connects other Jews. You have more in common with your wife than you do with me. You do, because she is on the same spiritual level or believes the same stuff as you do. It's interesting, and that's like the outlier. Like it's interesting, right? You have more in common with her than you do me. I mean, other than how many tattoos does she have? Hey,
Zero. She has zero.
this is the tattoo rabbi.
Oh yeah. Oh, look at
There's not too many. There's not, but he's part of like the good. I don't want to say the good ones because that term gets slightly.
He's one of the good ones.
Doing greens.
Okay.
I would disagree with you, but from your perspective, you might think that, but I could say it's definitely not true. My wife has kept kosher her entire life.
That's but she keeps the same religious part as you do.
Now, yeah.
Okay.
But me growing up, I didn't do any of that. You know how much I baked ham in my house. I baked honey glazed ham and bacon in my house growing up.
Fine, because turkey sucks. Ham is okay. You know what's funny? My dad, zero beliefs, doesn't eat ham. That's like an old school. It's
My dad also refuses. My parents are divorced. My mom's house.
no, no.
We had my dad said no, we refuse. Can never do that. No shrimp, no shellfish, no pork.
Oh, okay. Hey,
Doesn't keep kosher.
no. This is a longtime neighbor. Can we all right, let's finish.
Let's
Sorry.
wrap it up. Let's wrap it up. This is
Like
good.
oh,
Let's
let me take so I have literally let me show you how my wife is Catholic, right? But we grew
Mhm.
up like one of the things I asked when I met her was, well, what religion are you? Do I have to be that religion? If we have kids, do they have to be that religion? And we, of all the things we've squabbled about, that is not one of them. So where the fuck are my tefillin? All right, well, my tefillin are somewhere. I wanted to give them tefillin are, for those without context, very expensive.
Very. Yeah.
So I literally wanted to, I kept for like years. I'm like, Rabbi, let me just donate them. I'm not wearing them. He's like, yeah, you'll wear them. I'm like, I'm not. My wife was the one who said, don't donate these important things. I would
Wow.
say she's come with me to the hall, at least in the beginning. And with my daughter, I'm not gonna, my wife will teach her faith. I don't have that. Whereas I will teach her heritage and stuff. I would say the main thing, if I could explain Jews from the perspective of a Catholic from Senegal, she was invited to sukkahs from the Blotners, and and she's like, and I'm like, what's wrong? These people love you, and she goes, it's not that they're Jewish; it's that everything takes so long.
This is true. I love it.
Yeah.
I
No,
love it.
look, my I don't know who look for people that are watching this, like I am not joking when I say, especially I don't know how it is in Israel, but in America, like these it's not that they don't care what religion what they literally like they I can be the metal Jew. I can be the metal Jew with them. And if you're sorry, it's self promo because I got to make money for Chabad. Little shop,
Please.
little shop of hotsauce.com. Use code Jew, all caps, for 18% off, and I'll give some of that to Chabad.
100%. Can you plug your favorite kosher hot sauce?
There's not that many. I guess I would say
So it'll be easy.
so I don't piss off all the my good friends. Shout out Crowbar. It's going to be Crystal hot sauce for whatever reason. I don't, Southern Creole food is this shellfish, all that. Every single one of these items is kosher. I don't know why. I think it's because the Jews in Louisiana.
Louisiana.
No, they complained and they're like, we want food. So, all right. So yes, but no, keep doing you. And
Thank you. I want you to end it. You can tell me either a blessing you want to give the entire world, or you can say what's one small action everyone can take to bring a little bit more light into the world. If you want, you can plug your stickers.
oh yeah, So I started making because I hang out with a lot of motorcycle clubs, and they always do support your local this and this. So I made support your local Jew. I would say literally they're great. They're great stickers, all right? I would say this doesn't apply to Jewish people or not. Be proud of who you are. Talk to people. Connect with them, because most people are just trying to believe most people are kind, and I see it every single day, except for Steven. But no, I no blessing for the world is different. But well, look, all I can say is I've had all these people in my shop, and they're all from all different. Maybe that's how I connect. We all connect on talking and hugging and discussion. So that's what I want. I feel like not all. I feel like a lot of the world's problems can be solved if we all treated each other and like decent human beings and sat down and said, "Hey, we believe different things, but at our essence, we care about our fellow humans." And that's and L'chaim and Labriut, and that's all I got, Rabbi. And I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. No joke. Like I see you. You are a shining representative of what. Not even Chabad. Hey, you're one of the Rebbe's kids. So am I.
Amen. Amen. Yes, you are.
All right. Take it easy.
Love you. Have a good one. Thank you so
Love
much
you.
for sharing.
Of
Appreciate
course.
it.
Take it easy.
Cheers.
All
Have a
right.
good one. See ya. This episode of the Tattoo Rabbi podcast is sponsored in honor of our hostages who have now returned home, Baruch Hashem.
If you would like to sponsor a future episode in honor or in dedication of someone, you can contact me at tattoo@gmail.com, or you can message me on Instagram at tattoo_rabbi.
Tattoo Rabbi. Tattoo